Once upon a time there lived a poor couple in a small village. Life was hard for them, they barely had enough to eat, let alone anything extra. One day the wife looked at her husband with frustration and said, "Can't you even earn enough so I can wash myself properly once in a while? It's been 2 whole months since I last had a real bath." The husband felt ashamed. He knew she was right. So he went out, borrowed a little money, and finally scraped together just enough to send her to the bathhouse. The wife was thrilled. She gathered her things and set off. When she arrived, she found the entire place reserved for the wife of the royal fortune teller. Servants were pouring hot water, lighting incense, and treating her like a queen. Curious and a little desperate, the poor woman asked the bath attendant if she could quietly sit in a corner and bathe quickly. Seeing her condition, the attendant let her in. As she sat quietly, cleaning herself, she watched the fortune teller's wife enter with dramatic flair, surrounded by maids, walking with pride and completely full of herself. The poor woman looked at her, then looked up at the sky and sighed. "Dear God, look at this. I can't even afford to wash myself, and yet this ugly, arrogant woman is living like royalty." That night, back at home, she turned to her husband and said, "Enough is enough. Starting tomorrow, you're becoming a fortune teller." The husband was shocked. "Me? A fortune teller? Are you serious? I don't know the first thing about it." But his wife crossed her arms and said, "I don't care. Either you start tomorrow or I'm done with this marriage." Rumenzeit. He loved his wife and didn't want to lose her. So the next morning he sold his tools, his shovel and pickaxe, and used the money to buy an old wooden board and some second-hand books that looked mysterious enough. He picked a quiet corner in the town square, sat down, and spread out his fortune-telling board like he knew what he was doing. He waited. And not long after, a royal guard appeared, looking serious. "The king's treasure camel has disappeared," the guard said. "You're the new royal fortune teller, aren't you? Tell us where it is." The man froze. In his mind he was screaming, "Oh no, I'm dead. I don't even know how to read this board." But he tried to stay calm. He looked at the board, moved the pieces around, pretended to think deeply, then said, "Here's what you need to do. Take 10 coins, buy chickpeas, and drop one on the ground with every step you take. After the last chickpea, spin around 3 times. Then keep walking straight. You'll find the camel." The guard didn't argue. He followed the strange instructions and somehow, by sheer luck, ended up at an old ruin where the camel was resting. The news spread fast. The new fortune teller had found the king's treasure camel. The king was so pleased he sent the man a generous reward. That evening the man came home carrying food, new clothes, and a big smile. "Wife," he said, "you were right. This fortune-telling thing. It works." His wife beamed. "I told you so. Now keep going." The next morning the man set up his little fortune-telling booth again. He hadn't even been there 10 minutes when a group of palace guards came marching toward him. "The king wants to see you. Now." His heart dropped. "This is it. I'm finished," he thought. He must have realized I'm a fraud. My wife is going to get me killed. He packed his things with shaking hands and followed the guards to the palace. Inside the grand hall, the king was waiting. "You," said the king. "You found my treasure camel, right?" The man gulped. "Yes, your majesty." The king smiled. "Excellent. From today on you are the official royal fortune teller. You'll work in the palace and you'll be paid every month. Now get to work." The man nearly fainted. That night when he got home he collapsed into a chair and told his wife everything. "They've made me the official palace fortune teller. What am I supposed to do now?" If anything goes wrong, they'll chop off my head." But his wife just shrugged. "Oh, relax. Everything's going fine. Just keep calm and pretend you know what you're doing. God will take care of the rest." And for a while that was true. Every day the man went to the palace, sat in his decorated room and played the role. And every night he came home to his wife, a little richer and a little more nervous. Until one day, something went wrong. One morning chaos broke out in the palace. The royal treasury had been robbed overnight. Every chest of gold, every sparkling gem gone. The king was furious. He summoned the fortune teller immediately. "You," the king barked. "You're the royal seer. Find the thieves. Recover what's mine." The man's blood ran cold. He bowed deeply and muttered, "As you wish, your majesty." He hurried home, pale and trembling. His wife saw his face and didn't even need to ask. "They stole everything," he said. "And now the king wants me to find the thieves. If I fail, he'll have my head." But his wife, as always, was calm. "First ask for 40 days. You'll need time to think and to pray." The man returned to the king and requested 40 days to meditate and prepare his vision. Surprisingly, the king agreed. Back home, his wife had another idea. "Buy 40 dates," she said. "Every night eat one and toss the pit into a jar. That way we'll know exactly how many days have passed." The man did as she said, eating a date each night and counting the days. But meanwhile, a rumor began to spread. The fortune teller has been assigned to find the robbers. The thieves hiding in the city started to panic. That night, one of the thieves climbed up onto the fortune teller's rooftop, hoping to overhear anything that would tell him whether they'd been discovered. Inside the house, the fortune teller picked up his daily date, ate it slowly and, as usual, dropped the pit into the jar. He muttered to himself, "One down. Out of 40. The thief froze. How did he know? Was he counting us? The man bolted off the rooftop and ran back to his gang. "He knows," he said breathlessly. "He knows there are 40 of us." The second night, a different thief went up. Again, the fortune teller sat alone, ate his date and whispered, "2 down. 38 to go." Another terrified retreat. And another whispered confession. "He's tracking us one by one." This continued night after night. Each thief climbed the rooftop. Each one heard the same thing. 3 down. 4 down. 5 down. By the 39th night, the entire gang was in a state of panic. One thief whispered, "Tomorrow is the last day. He's going to know all of us. We'll be executed for sure." The leader slammed his fist on the table. "No more hiding. We go to him. We surrender. Maybe he'll show us mercy." The next morning, all 40 thieves gathered outside the fortune teller's home. They weren't armed to fight, they were armed with desperation. One held a sword. Another carried a holy book. They knocked. The fortune teller opened the door, barefoot, groggy, and terrified to see the entire gang standing at his doorstep. Their leader stepped forward and said, "You win. We know you've figured us out. Either kill us now with this sword, or swear on this book that you'll show us mercy." He held both out, trembling. The fortune teller blinked, stunned. He had no idea what was going on. But he saw the sword, the book, the pleading eyes, and he did what any clever man would do. He nodded solemnly and said, "You did the right thing. Tell me where the treasure is." And they did. They confessed everything, how they'd looted the king's vault, where they buried the jewels, and even which guards they'd bribed. The fortune teller took notes, thanked them, and promised to beg the king for mercy on their behalf. That very evening he rode to the palace. He bowed low and presented the hidden location of the treasure. "Your Majesty, I have recovered every last coin." The king was overjoyed. "Name your reward," he declared. The fortune teller only asked that the thieves be spared. The king agreed. After all, justice had been served and peace restored. And once again the fortune teller returned home, not just with his life, but with a chest full of royal gold. That night the fortune teller sat with his wife, gold on the table and worry on his face. "I can't keep this up," he whispered. "If one more miracle happens, they'll either make me a minister or discover I'm a fraud." His wife calmly poured tea and said, "Then it's time for the final act. You must pretend to go mad." The man stared at her. "Go mad?" "Yes," she nodded. "If they think you've lost your mind, they'll let you go. It's the only way out." "But how?" She leaned closer and explained. "Tomorrow morning, go to the royal bathhouse. Wait for the king to enter the hot pool. Then rush in, scream nonsense, drag him out, and start dancing like a lunatic. He'll think you've gone insane. Everyone will. They won't punish a madman, they'll dismiss you." The man hesitated, then sighed. "At this point, it's genius." At dawn, the fortune teller snuck into the palace bathhouse. He waited behind the curtain. When the king entered the hot pool, relaxing among steam and silence, the fortune teller suddenly burst in, screaming gibberish, waving his arms like a wild man. "The fish are speaking," he shouted. "The stones are bleeding." Before the guards could react, he grabbed the king and yanked him out of the water, throwing him onto the floor, and began spinning and dancing like a whirling dervish. Just as everyone shouted for his arrest, the roof above the pool collapsed. A huge chunk of stone smashed into the bath. The king stared, soaked and stunned. The madman had saved his life. Days passed. The palace buzzed with rumors. The madman saved the king again. Is he truly insane? Or truly gifted? The king, now convinced that divine favor followed the fortune teller, made him a royal advisor, seated beside nobles and generals. But the man back home groaned. "This is madness," he told his wife. "Your plans never fail, but each one binds me tighter." His wife smiled and whispered, "One last move. The final performance." "What now?" he sighed. "At the next royal gathering, when all nobles are seated, throw the king off his throne." "What?" "They'll execute me on the spot." "Trust me," she said. "You won't die. You'll be freed." At the royal council, the court was full. Ministers, generals, ambassadors. The king entered. As he sat, the fortune teller slowly walked forward. Gasps filled the hall. He looked the king dead in the eye, then suddenly shoved him off the throne. Chaos erupted. Guards charged. But just then, a venomous scorpion crawled from under the royal seat, right where the king had been. The room froze. The fortune teller had saved the king a third time. One sunny morning, the king invited the fortune teller to join him on a royal hunting trip. They rode together through the forest, laughing and chatting. After a while, the king dismounted and said with a playful grin, "Let's see how powerful your talents truly are. Tell me what's inside my closed fist." The fortune teller froze. His face turned pale. He thought to himself, "Oh Lord, you know I never wanted this. I tried to escape it, but you kept opening doors. Now it's in your hands again." Then, nervously, he looked at the sky and whispered under his breath, "Once you escaped, dear grasshopper. Twice you escaped, dear grasshopper. But in the end you're caught in the hand." The king raised his eyebrow. "Speak louder," he ordered. The fortune teller trembled but repeated his line in a louder voice. Hearing this, the king burst out laughing. "Brilliant," he said, opening his palm. A grasshopper leapt into the air and flew away. Amazed by the poetic answer that somehow hit the mark, the king praised him again in front of the whole court. And that's how a simple man with no magical powers became the royal fortune teller, just by chance, wit, and a brave heart. Sometimes, luck and cleverness can take you further than knowledge. May your days be lucky just like his.